everyone, it's James Santiago from Learn Wealthy. Today we're getting into one of the biggest questions on people's minds. Will President Trump's policies help bring down inflation? When I was the president, we basically had no inflation in this country. We didn't have any inflation, everything was great. With Joe Biden, we had the worst inflation in this country of all time. Okay, a quick recap. Inflation basically means prices are going up. We got the Austrian economist definition, which is inflation being an expansion of the money supply. But we'll stick with the prices going up. When we talk about inflation being high, we're saying that the cost of everything from food to rent to gas is rising faster than people's wages. The big question is, can Trump's policies put a stop to this? Let's get into his main strategies. First up is your tax cuts. Trump has proposed cutting taxes on individuals, especially seniors, and reducing the capital gains tax. Also, he said no tax on tips. The idea here is that if people keep more of their own money, they'll spend and invest it. Businesses, in turn, will have more incentive to produce goods. When you have more goods and services, prices should stabilize. It's a basic law of supply and demand. More supply means lower or steady prices. Now let's talk about energy. Drill, baby, drill. We have the most oil in this country. We're gonna drill all the land. We're gonna drill your mother and your grandmother. We're gonna drill everything. Trump has promised on going big with deregulating the energy sector, especially oil and natural gas. Whenever I hear the word deregulation, it always sounds so good to me. It's music to my ears. Less regulations, less red tapes, smaller government. By opening up domestic production, allowing businesses and capitalists to do what they do, which is produce resources for everyone, he's aiming to bring down energy prices. All the government does is have regulations and red tapes. Remember, they don't have any money. They just take the money from taxpayers. They don't have anything. They have nearly 36 trillion in debt, which we'll talk about in the next video. The government only has 36 trillion in debt, and all they do is red tapes and regulations that make it hard for the businesses and capitalists to produce stuff for everyone else. But they always blame the capitalists anyway. So by opening domestic production, allowing businesses and capitalists to do what they do, he's aiming to bring down energy prices. Again, law of supply and demand. More energy means lower and steady cost of energy. And energy is huge when it comes to inflation. According to my macro idol, George Gammon, the energy is the economy. I mean, if you think about it, energy has an input in every single thing that the economy produces. Lower gas and electricity prices can bring down the cost of nearly everything because energy is a factor on how all the goods are made and delivered. And then we got tariffs to bring manufacturing home. Remember Trump's tariffs. He's likely to bring back or even increase some tariffs on foreign goods, especially from countries like China. The idea, in theory, is to make foreign products more expensive and encourage American companies to make things here. Easier than said and done, because usually the infrastructures for production takes many years to build and would cost a lot of money. I mean, would a business really invest to build all these manufacturing buildings and equipment knowing that the next term might remove tariffs again and they'll have to compete again against China, who basically produces their stuff by using human slave labor? Plus, mostly everything we buy as consumers is already made from countries like China. So basically, these foreign companies can pass on the cost to the consumers, right? Not until we have these domestic companies established to produce, and these domestic companies would not be charged with tariffs, then hopefully the consumers will start buying American products again. But there's also an argument, since the domestic manufacturers doesn't have to compete with foreign manufacturers anymore, that the quality of domestic products will be poor. Because they're not competing, just like the government. DMV is bad, school is bad, everything is bad because they don't have to compete. But there's also a thought, but if there's multiple domestic manufacturers inside the United States, then they can still compete against each other and have free market capitalism and competition, which should encourage lower prices and better quality of products. So it's gonna be really hard to pull this off, Mr. President. Now we're gonna talk about deregulation again. Trump wants to roll back rules that businesses have to follow, less red tapes, especially in industries like energy, banking, manufacturing. In theory, this could cut down on costs for these companies, which would ideally mean lower prices for consumers. And if Mr. Elon Musk gets a role, Trump says he will tap Musk to lead Government Efficiency Commission if elected. The whole idea of government is pretty much linked to the word inefficiency, since government have done so bad in human history. But you know, Elon Musk is a special kind of person. According to data, Elon Musk's SpaceX can launch payloads into space at significantly lower cost compared to NASA or Boeing, sometimes up to 10 times cheaper, primarily but not only due to their reusable rockets. So will these policies and Donald Trump's new friends cool down inflation? I think it's very promising. Plus, we've already been in a disinflationary trend anyway, which supports our base case of a recession in this channel. At least in the short term, because you know what government always does. A lot of it depends on timing, lowering taxes and boosting production, but the effects may take time to play out. And we don't know if these people are still going to be there before all these things, before they can cut through all the red tapes, bureaucracy, and build all these infrastructures. And there's always that risk that tariffs won't be done right and things could go bad and foreign countries stop selling into the United States, and the United States couldn't produce those products and we can have scarcity. And the law of supply and demand, scarcity or less stuff equals more inflation. I'm hoping for the best. We have used tariffs successfully in the past before, in the 1800s. But because of some problems and government corruption, again, that came along with it, they had to switch to income tax. Man, tariffs suck. Oh, wow. The grass is greener over there. Let's go. Oh, shit, income tax. One of my idols, Jason Hartman, would always ask, compared to what? Me personally, I don't know, I'm only 38 years old. I've never been screwed by tariffs before, but I sure have been screwed by income tax my whole working life. So if you ask me personally, I would like to try this alternative that I've never experienced and have never been tested in this kind of environment. Because the environment today is totally different from back then in the 1800s. Alright, I want to paint a picture of a really positive scenario. Here's what you should expect if these policies get inflation under control. We could see more stable prices and possibly even some relief on things like energy costs. You could see some real disinflation or even deflation, the good kind. Most of the times, deflation is bad and it happens during recession in the business cycles. But man, oh man, a deflation caused by a surplus of products and abundance would have been so great. Alright, that's a scoop on whether Trump's policies could bring down inflation. Remember, inflation affects all of us, so it's worth keeping track of these changes. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe and drop a comment down below. I would love to talk to y'all. Yeehaw! And as always, for more finance, investing, real estate, and macroeconomics, let's all learn wealthy together. I'll see you on the next